Hello everybody and welcome to the Homestead's Facebook page and YouTube channel. Today I thought that I would do a tour of the vegetable garden that we have growing in the front yard. So I'll just start in the front box here. Here we have a variety of different bush beans. There's yellow, green, and purple variety, and interplanted with them are beets that are really starting to grow and take off. This interplanting was done with a purpose. The beans are nitrogen fixers, so they'll put nitrogen into the soil, and the beets really benefit from that. So we've been harvesting beets for a couple weeks, or not beets, but the beans for a couple weeks now, and the beets have really started to take off. Over here we have some kale that's really just starting to get going. It's still pretty small, maybe only 10 to 12 inches, but it tastes great. In here again we have beans and beets interplanted, and in behind I had some extra space, so some of the turnips, it's mostly turnip over here, they're pretty tightly packed together, so I pulled a few of them and transplanted them just to see how they do, and instead of just pulling them and letting them die, and those ones actually seem to be doing better than these ones over here. So there's a few turnip in here. Again, you can see I did a video before showing the benefits of grass clippings, so you can check that out if you want. But I've left the clover wherever possible, because again, that is a nitrogen fixer, and instead of fertilizing, I can just allow nature to put some nitrogen into my soil for me. In behind we have some radishes that are ready. There's some of them are starting to get tall and flower, and these were planted about 2 months ago, so I would assume that in here somewhere there's some that are ready. They're pretty tightly packed, but yeah, maybe these ones were a little bit later. But yeah, so some of them will be ready. I haven't really picked any of them. This was the spinach. We harvested some of it and allowed the rest of it to go to seed. You can see that they're yellowing now. In some cases in the center of your screen there, they're browning. So those seeds are probably ready to come off. Behind them we have some more kale. I've never grown kale before, so I thought that I would plant a lot of it, and we're getting quite a bit coming up now. In the front of this 4x8 box we have rainbow Swiss chard, which we're starting to pull out of the garden and eat. Just take a couple leaves off of each plant, and the plants continue to do well and replace those leaves. This is just regular Swiss chard. This grew much faster than the rainbow, only 4 feet apart, and it's done really well. I've been eating this for at least 6 weeks. And behind again we have some more kale and more radishes. This is some lettuce. Started to pull from this because there's no way we're ever going to eat all this lettuce. I've often found that when I try to grow lettuce, it's really bitter if grown in rows, so I planted it really densely, and that allows for some moisture retention in the soil, and that is going to lead to better tasting lettuce. Here, these were the first radishes I planted at the start of the year. We harvested a few of them, but the vast majority we've let go to seed, and they are really producing a ton of seeds. I broke one of these open yesterday, and one of these little pods had 5 or 6 seeds in it that were fully formed. They're not mature yet. As you can see, they're still green, but there's a ton of these in here, hundreds of these in here, and we're definitely not going to have to buy any radish seed from the local stores next year. In here again we have 3 mixed varieties of the bush beans and the beets. These beets are also really starting to take off, so I'm excited to harvest those later on in the season. This was a potato patch. It really didn't do very well. we've had a ton of rain this year, so some things have really benefited from that and some things not so much. Potatoes, I believe, are not lovers of significant rainfall. On average, I'd say it's rained a significant amount every 2 to 3 days since spring, since everything's been planted. So we had a couple that were really well developed. The eyes were really well developed. They popped up almost immediately. This little one over here in the corner popped up last week, and I planted some more just to see what would happen. I really don't think we'll get anything from them, as they take about 100 days, but we'll see. So these radishes I planted at the same time as those ones over there, and these were the ones I was thinking of. You can see the ones on the outlying areas where they're spaced out a little more. They're big enough to be harvested and eaten, and yeah, they're pretty good. Here we interplanted several different varieties of tomatoes and onions. I just cut the grass today, and again, I'm layering the grass in there for weed control. You can see a couple cucumbers in there, which are really, again, not doing well. Everybody in the area is having trouble with cucumbers this year. Again, I believe it's because of the rain, but kind of buried in here, you can see a couple stalks of celery starting to shoot up, and those are just regrowths from the celery we bought in the store. These are some peppers, 5 or 6 different varieties of peppers. Again, peppers are lovers of heat, and it has not been hot other than the last week. It's really starting to get warm here in August, but they're starting to grow, and I'm fairly confident that we'll get a couple harvests off of them, so fingers crossed. There was some extra space and beet seeds, so I planted them in around here. You can see the little red leaves. The goldfinches are big fans of beet leaves, and for some reason they have exclusively eaten out of this section here that's about 1.5 feet by 4 feet. There's 3 little rows planted, and they've eaten most of those. I don't mind. I mean, I always plant lots of extras so that everything that gets taken kind of we're gonna get some of it no matter what, so they can have those, no big deal. They're a pretty bird, and I don't mind having them around at all. The kids like them. In here we have a few more varieties of tomatoes. There's some yellow tomatoes, some cherry tomatoes, and you know, just a few different kinds that we're trying this year to see how they do. We have some more beans planted in here. They're all doing really well now, and there's some zucchini plants in here that I don't think are big fans of all the rain either. You can see more of them in the middle. But I built these trellises in hopes that the cucumbers would climb them, and in a few spots they are, but on the whole they're not doing very well. But they're starting to flower, and on the odd one you can see that there's some cucumbers setting. There's one right there. So they're starting. No big deal. A little honeybee flying around back in there doing his job for us. It's great. Coming from the backyard. Some more beans. I started to notice a few zucchinis. Here's one. I don't know if you can really see it in the shade, but we're expecting a significant amount of rain again for the next 3 days. So after I'm done this video, I'm probably going to go through and clean it out. Zucchinis will rot if they're on the ground and they're wet for a significant amount of time. Here we just have some onions, which they're starting to do okay. They're not doing too bad. Parsnips, which I've never really had much luck growing, but they are doing significantly better than any other year. Not as many popped up as I anticipated, but they're still doing pretty good. Carrots I've always had some issues with, but I am fairly certain that we're gonna get a nice supply of carrots in the fall and through the winter. Here we have some purple cauliflower. another plant that I've never had a lot of luck with. They require a lot of water. That's the reason why I built the boxes and put the mulch down, and we've had a great year for rain, so I'm hoping that I'll get a few of these this year. They're quite large, and you can see the purple in there on the stalks. This is broccoli over here, another plant that I've never really had a lot of luck with, and when it has grown, it's been extremely bitter. Again, they are from the same family as cauliflower. They require a lot of water, so they've been getting that this year for sure, and they're all doing pretty well. There's nodules starting to form on the new leaf growth, and yeah, I'm sure that we'll get a little bit of broccoli this year, which will be nice, one of my favorites. Cabbage over here in this 4x8 box. Convinced myself that we're gonna get some cabbage this year. You can see inside the leaves are starting to overlap each other, so that's good. There's a few over here that the deer have thinned out for us, but not a huge deal. I always get the name wrong. I believe these are tomilitos, they're called. It's a variety that my mom showed me. It's a type of tomato technically, but you can see these husks here. They'll turn gray. They're kind of like ornamental Chinese lanterns, and they grow a berry in the middle that right now is green but will turn red. And after trying some from her garden last year, I decided that I was gonna have to grow some of those because they were delicious. Over here we tried to grow some peanuts. Never tried that before either. This has been a victim of the deer as well. He stops by pretty regularly and has a snack at the buffet, but there's a few of them growing. There's 3. I planted this whole section with them and only a few popped up. I don't know if that's due to the rain as well, but these ones have survived, so I'm gonna let them just grow, and those seeds I will plant again next year. Grown in this soil and in these conditions, they survived, so their offspring should do a good job. You can see there's a couple little tobacco plants that I tried. They're being weighted over with their flowers right now, but I'll tie those up to some stakes. There's a few of those I just threw in. More zucchini here in this section. I planted corn at different times, so there's, I don't know, around 150 stalks here that I planted last. I guess that was about a month ago, so they should come into season right as the fall starts. These ones I planted a month before that, and you can see that there's some corn starting, so that's good. Hopefully more of these will start to pop out. More ears will start to pop out here and there. And then these ones I actually planted in trays. It's all sweet corn variety, so we'll see what happens. But yeah, I haven't really taken a good look at these for a while, so I'm sure there's some more ears buried in there. In through here, we have some high trellises. They're about 9 feet, and I interplanted cucumbers, squash, zucchini, and pumpkins. They're all doing fairly well. This one is a pumpkin. You can see one up there and another one there. Voracious growers, so every 2 to 3 days I come out with the ladder. I should have built them a little shorter maybe, but I have to come out with a ladder and wrap them around the sticks that I've connected each trellis with so that they could continue to grow. But there's a few big ones in and around, and when you're growing pumpkins on trellises, you're going to need to I'm looking for the word. You're gonna have to support them at some point. So I'm gonna make slings for these today and tie those to the trellises, because these are doing pretty well. And usually I only get a couple pumpkins, but there's a few growing, so I would like to get to eat some of them. Up there you can see some squash growing. Butternut squash is my favorite. It does really well here. I've had some plants grow 30-40 feet long and produce, you know, 10-15 squash on a single plant. You can see there's tons of powdery mildew on everything. That's my fault. I interplanted everything really tightly here, and there's not as much airflow as I thought there was, but the plants are all surviving, seem to be doing pretty well. Got a couple doves back there walking around. Scarlet runner beans, nitrogen fixers, so I interplanted those with these to try to help give them a boost. This is a type of squash that I was given by a fellow at a local community garden. I can't remember the name right now. I'll have to post it underneath after, but it's an ancient squash. Thousands of years old. This variety, the lineage has stayed true, and he received it from an elder in Manitoba at a powwow, and he was gracious enough to give me a few of these seeds, so these are growing well. Squash are supposed to support themselves and be strong enough that this will hold on to, you won't lose the fruit itself. They looked gigantic when I looked up photos of them, so I'm probably going to sling those as well. You can see that this variety of squash vine is thinner as well, so that also makes me think that they'll need to be aided. So yeah, lots of stuff. There's another one there. In here, zucchini over on this end are growing pretty big. Here we have sweet peas and snap peas interplanted. These are probably my favorite veggie, but they are really doing well. They're just loaded out. I mean, I'm out here every 2 to 3 days cleaning these out, and I'm getting, you know, half a regular sized grocery bag, and it's been 4 or 5 days, and this is definitely the most I've ever seen. This year, instead of just having the one layer of fence that's maybe 3 feet tall, I added the second, and that's closing in on 6 feet anyways. And yeah, they grew all the way up to the top, and these ones seem to be doing better than these ones. They're both producing lots, but yeah, I'm happy with the way those have turned out. There's another little zucchini down in there. Another one down there. There's another one down in there. But yeah, so that's the vegetable garden. It's doing well. We're pretty happy with it. There's another zucchini coming from the flower. And back here, this is just the sod that I pulled up this year. You can see on the other side where I've started to lay some grass across the top. I thought that I would create a mound that would be high and hot, and that I could plant watermelons and cantaloupe, which again is something that when I've planted, I'm lucky if I've got one off of each plant, and sometimes they go rotten with too much rain as well. But there's a watermelon growing, and I'm not convinced I'm going to get anything from this, but just a trial. The garden is a little slow this year. We did a lot of work to get it the way we wanted it to this year, what we wanted it to be, which is basically a self-maintaining system. The grass will feed the soil, no stepping on the soil with the 4x8 boxes, so it should stay nice and loose. The mulch in between each box should keep everything watered, and it's done a really good job of that. It's August 2nd and I haven't watered the garden once. There was, over on the other side, it's higher, and the broccoli and cauliflower boxes, the 4x8 boxes, I watered them once about I don't know, 4 or 5 weeks ago. So the rest of the garden has not been watered and is all doing really well. I'm sure we'll get lots of production out of it over the next month and a half, or 2 months if we're lucky. And yeah, that's about it for today. So thanks for watching the video. As always, if you like what you see, you could share, like, and subscribe. And any comments that you have, leave in the comment section below, and I'll get back to you as soon as possible. Thanks for your time and have a great day.